We are feeling beings before we are logical beings. We feel our way in the beginning stages of our life. We feel our way into regulation. We're made up of energy, and that is very much true for the nervous system. It is sending electrical signals and messages all day long. And 80% of the communication is from body to mind, and 20% of the communication is from mind to body. So what that tells us is that our physiology creates our psychology, not the other way around. I think people are starting to realize how deeply the body has been the missing piece in people's healing journey.
Free to be, me, free to sing, sweet feathers and let me like a hug.
The Safe to Be Seen podcast is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. Darci and Brandon Burke do not claim to be experts. We have no intention to defend our beliefs or impose them onto others. This podcast provides a space to allow for us to share with others what it's like to be us. We desire to share our human journey with others. We advise you to seek professional counsel, therapy, and/or treatment from trained, credentialed, and certified professionals for any emotional, mental, and/or physical conditions you may be experiencing. What a very special episode this is, Darci. We are joined today by our beautiful daughter, Graci. Graci, welcome. It is so good to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, of course.
So it's been a little over a week ago. We were fortunate enough to have you join us from Hawaii, where you're living currently. Mm-hmm. You flew out here to be with our family. We kicked it off with Father's Day weekend, which was just absolutely amazing to have you here for Father's Day.
Fun.
I'm so grateful.
Happy Father's Day to the best dad in the world.
Happy Father's Day, Dad.
Thank you.
Love you so much.
I love you so much. And we had the most amazing... I was kind of selfish this year because for Father's Day this year, I made sure that we were all together doing one of my favorite things. Again, selfishly, I planned this out months in advance to get you here from Hawaii and get everyone together.
Minus, we couldn't have one make it.
Yeah, we had one couldn't make it, but and we were able to attend the concert of one of our family's favorite bands,
Mm-hmm.
Stick Figure. Up in Salt Lake, and we had the most incredible time.
It was so
We really
fun
did. It was
jamming
so
out with all you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
It was like we were teenagers it's like we were the youngest ones of the kids.
We were-
Teenagers.
we were acting like kids.
You
and
guys
that's
were dancing the whole
you know,
time.
the entire time.
It was so cool
The
to
entire
see.
time. We were right up by the stage.
Yeah.
And we had pit passes, and we were right up there, right up close and personal with Scott Woodruff of Stick Figure.
Stick Figure has very special meaning for you, Brand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain why?
Yeah, well, we started listening to them, approximately 10 to 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They became, I would say, like our family's favorite music to listen to while boating, while being on the lake and, wake surfing. They're really beautiful reggae vibe type of music. And we've listened to them for a long time, but I don't know, 2 years ago, roughly, one of their songs, Paradise, just really, it became my repeat song. I go through these phases where I have songs that are on repeat for quite a while, and I know it annoys you and the kids.
I'm the same way.
I don't get sick of songs. I listen to them over and over and over again until they get ingrained in me, and I have every word memorized. And I was in this phase, I was going through a lot of change in my life, and a lot of transition, a lot of difficulty. And I was listening to Paradise over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly, I would say it was on repeat for several months. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly one day, a part of the song just really hit me. it was the most incredible experience. It was as if like I hadn't really fully heard it before. It was like I was hearing it for the first time, you know? And it was just one of those moments where like the lyrics spoke to me, like really, really spoke to me, to the depths of me, to my soul. And essentially, you know, we have a special treat for our listeners today. Gracie's going to sing Paradise by Stick Figure. And we'll get to, you know, the lyrics, but basically the specific lyrics that hit me hard were in that song. It says, getting lost is being found. And I just was like, whoa, yeah. It just really hit me hard and made a lot of sense to me. And that has since become kind of a very integral and important part of my healing journey, my journey of self-discovery. I have the lyrics tattooed on my side. And
You want to take your shirt off and show us? I'm just kidding. He's like, viewers would love it. I know it.
Oh, Darci, you're so funny. But anyway, yeah, it was a really special Father's Day.
Yeah, it
Very,
was.
very,
was.
very grateful to have had the opportunity to be with all of you.
Yeah. Me too. Thank you so
And,
much for flying me out.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. What'd you think of it,
loved
Gracie?
It was amazing. It was such a cool experience. And just seeing you guys dance your hearts out and just be so free. And it was so cool. So cool to see.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was so much fun jamming out with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably hadn't seen your dad's dance
I've
moves
never
like
seen
that
you
before.
dance like that before. It was so cool though.
Yeah.
You were just
Good, huh?
letting loose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was
I could
fun.
Feel your energy. Yeah.
What'd you think, Darci?
Oh, it was incredible. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, you are the one that had me fall in love with reggae. And this is, I don't know, our third time seeing them in concert, and their lyrics are just so beautiful.
They are.
And yeah, it was just such a fun experience
Yeah.
being there with all the kids, and especially the kids knowing how meaningful Stick Figure and that song is to you on Father's Day. When they played Paradise and we pushed Dad to the front because we had amazing tickets, and Dad got to be right up to the stage as they were singing Paradise, and I was just kind of like set back and just got really emotional just thinking about Dad's healing experience and how meaningful that song was to you, babe, and how the kids have been very integral and a witness to your healing, and just to all of us sharing that experience together was really beautiful.
It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
Aww.
Well, Gracers, our little Gracie Lee, our little Southern Belle, we call her, because she was born in the South, in North Carolina, while we were going to dental school. We've talked about her on our past episodes.
Yeah.
And if you already don't know, Brandon and I absolutely adore our children and think the world of them. So we can't wait to have them all on, hopefully, eventually.
Yeah.
But we wanted to snag Gracie while she was here from Hawaii, because it's, about twice a year we get to have her come home. And so, Gracie, do you just want to tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So I'm 20 years old. I'm currently living in Honolulu right now with my boyfriend. It's been such a fun experience living there. I moved there right after high school with a couple of my girlfriends. It was really crazy getting out of Utah and moving to such a different environment at such a young age, but it's taught me so much. It's been really cool. I love music. I've always loved music. I remember at a really young age having a strong emotional connection to the music I listen to, and it's always been like my biggest dream. If anyone asks me like what I want to do with my life, I would say that's number one. I love all things spiritual and philosophy, and love having deep conversations. Yeah.
You're so fun to philosophize with.
I love philosophizing.
Yes.
And I must say that listening to your angel voice while you growing up was such a gift.
Oh, thank you.
Such a gift. And it's such a beautiful way for your soul to express in this world, Gracie.
Thank you.
And I know that it's blessed so many people being able to listen to you sing.
Thank you so much.
So the listeners are in for a very special treat today.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, so should we do it? Should we play?
Let's do it. Let's
Paradise
get
by
into
Stick
it.
Figure?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Alrighty.
Tell me something that I don't know. Give me nothing but love and hope. I hope I can find my paradise. And deep down under, and all I've seen beyond the wonders, still I dream. I know I can make that sacrifice. What is hopeless and what is real? I wish I knew how I feel. I hope I can find that love inside. Give me shelter, bring me along. There's a place where we all belong. Still I wonder, where's my paradise? And I hope I find my paradise. And I hope I find my paradise. Out of the darkness, show me the way. We all get lost, we've all been astray. Hold me close, tell me everything is alright. The world keeps turning, the sun goes down. A moment of silence, the greatest sound. Still I wonder, where's my paradise? And I hope I find my paradise. And I hope I find my paradise. And the road it goes, and your soul it knows. It takes me back to where we started. When you're all alone, follow your heart of gold. They say that home is where the heart is. I wonder where the wind it blows, the reason why it blows so cold. Spent half a lifetime slowing down, but growing up is getting old. Rather feel at home than be alone tonight. When all the rain kept falling down, the world don't stop spinning round. What's in your heart, it's hard to find, but getting lost, being found. Hope I can find my paradise. And I hope I find my paradise. And I hope I find my paradise. Is that the end? Yeah.
Wow.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Woo, woo.
Thanks for playing the drum.
Yeah, good job, Gracie.
That was
Thank you.
amazing, you guys. Brandon on the drum.
Thanks. That was so
That
fun.
was so
Thank you,
nice.
Gracie.
Yeah, of course.
So
Thank you for
beautiful.
having me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks for joining
Of
us.
course.
Sharing your incredible beauty with us.
Thank you.
We love you so much.
I love you guys so much. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah.
Love you, Gracie.
Love you.
Did you want to ask her any questions, hon?
Gracie.
We have her for just a few more moments.
Okay.
So if you have any questions, we'll hit her up right now and then
Yeah.
we'll let her go.
Alrighty.
Yeah, Gracie. I'm curious as to what you observing your parents change so much and evolve and heal,
Yeah.
what that has been like for you.
Yeah.
The good and the ugly.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's been so incredibly beautiful seeing you guys heal and evolve so much in such a short amount of time. I think the biggest way it's impacted me is by seeing you guys fully step into your truth and your authenticity. I feel I can do the same. And you have shown me through your actions, not just through your words, that your love for me is not based on any condition. It's not transactional. I don't have to do anything or achieve anything or live my life a certain way to be worthy of your love. And it's been so beautiful and so healing for me to see you guys heal. Thank you guys for doing that inner work. I know it wasn't easy. I love you
Thank
guys so
you.
much.
Yeah. Thanks, Gracie.
Thank you for sharing that, honey.
So grateful for you.
I'm so grateful for you guys. You have no idea.
We love you. Thank
I love you
honey.
both so much. Thank you.
I love you, sweetheart.
Love you. Have a good rest of the pod.
All right, Darci. Well, that was an amazing treat we just had having Gracie here, sharing her musical gift with us. And
Yeah, she should have just played for the whole hour.
I know. Why didn't we do that?
Seriously.
People would much rather listen to her sing than us talk, I'm sure. So we should have thought of that. But in any case, she has left now. So I guess our listeners are stuck with us.
Sorry.
So we'll do our best. It's fascinating, Darci, when I think about the realization of understanding that in relationship, I was, as a grown adult man, in many, many cases, unconsciously, playing out the parts of me that were really from my inner child, that were, whether they were my attachment style, my fears, my insecurities, my projections. I remember having, going through that experience of becoming aware that there needed to be this shift that needed to happen. And that was, for me, it was taking the focus off of you and putting it on myself. And the awareness of knowing that my own inner work, having the courage to look at myself in the mirror with honesty, was key to, I would say, making that jump, making that progress in my healing journey, and what a blessing it has been to it's just incredible how things have unraveled for us.
Mm-hmm.
Because as we began our healing journey, as we began going through, our faith transition, as I was kind of working through my middle passage, most commonly called a midlife crisis, but you were becoming, you went back to school.
Mm-hmm.
You were becoming trained and certified in nervous system regulation and somatic practice.
Mm-hmm.
And you started to, through your training and your education and your certification process and your own personal journey, the contribution that you made to my healing the role you played, the understanding you brought, the knowledge, the wisdom, the practices, the techniques, the methods, but most importantly, your love cannot be adequately expressed with words.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So thank you. But I want to, if you would, with your extensive background and experience in and understanding with the nervous system and with somatics work, I would love for you to start to walk us through some of the important concepts related to how the inner child
Mm-hmm.
starts to manifest itself and play out in relationship, in marriage, in whatever your romantic relationship looks like, in your intimate relationship. And maybe we could start with you just helping us kind of just with the basics of what is the nervous system?
Yeah, I would love to. I'm so excited to geek out on this today.
Yes. Well, we are so lucky to have you and can't wait to hear what you have to say. So
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you. And thank you for your kind and loving words, Brand. I don't think that, I think everything happens for a reason. And I definitely felt very called to this work, and not only in helping myself, but in helping my family and in others, and believe in it deeply and really believe that it is a huge missing piece in the puzzle of holistic healing. And I'm so excited about, it's a huge thing right now, the nervous system talk and somatics. And I think people are starting to realize that, how deeply the body has been the missing piece in people's healing journey. And, in my experience in helping you, it wasn't me, honey. It was all you. It was just me giving you the tools and teaching you, your own medicine to be able to do the work. So you absolutely get all the credit for that, but thank you for those kind words. So in speaking about, relationship, staying on this topic of relationship, I think it's so important to understand why we are the way that we are in relationship, and specifically relational patterns and how we show up in those relational containers, of making sense of, I think people may have a cognitive understanding of their attachment style, but don't understand tools or ways to heal that attachment style so they can grow into a safe and secure attachment style with their current relationship or with their current partner. And so we'll talk about attachment styles. We'll talk a little bit about parts work and how parts or inner child, also known as inner child work, are also known as IFS, internal family systems, how that shows up in relationship, and how to help heal, and tools that can be practiced with each other in your relationship to help heal. Because in the last episode, we talked about how relationship is the most sacred space to heal in relationship is to be able to heal those inner child wounds and to heal from attachment styles. So the nervous system it creates basically your entire lived experience. It is the driving force behind why you are the way that you are. Your nervous system has 5 jobs: sensing, perceiving, emotions, thoughts, and actions. That creates your entire lived experience. And that's why it's so critical for you to have an understanding of the nervous system. And I love the science behind why people are the way that they are, because just that offering of there's an actual science behind why I am the way that I am is already just healing in and of itself, is coming to that understanding and coming to that realization of why we are the way that we are. So the nervous system is made up of 2 parts: the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system includes the brain and the spinal cord. The peripheral nervous system includes the spinal cord and all the nerve endings coming off of the spinal cord that then connects to the rest of our body. And as part of the peripheral nervous system is our autonomic nervous system. And this is, when you hear people talk about the nervous system, they're mainly talking about the autonomic nervous system. It's subcortical, and so that means it's below the head. And so that's why involving the nervous system in your healing is so critical, involving the body, because that is where our lived experience is stored. That is where the story of our lives are played out. The story of our lives are stored in the implicit memory inside of our bodies. The body is such a sacred container for our experiences, our life experiences. Your body holds the most accurate information about you. And when you become attuned to your own body, and when you become connected to yourself, when you become connected to your parts, and you have an understanding of when those parts are showing up, when those parts are speaking, you can differentiate, and you can come into a place of healing and understanding. And so attachment styles begin in our childhood. From the time we're born, we rely upon our caregivers to regulate us. We do not have the ability as babies to regulate ourselves. We rely solely upon our caregivers to do that for us. And we are feeling beings before we are logical beings. We feel our way in the beginning stages of our life. We feel our way into regulation. And that's also another important reason why involving the nervous system in your healing is so important, because it is your felt sense experience of your life. And because we are feeling beings, we need to heal through feeling. And so attachment styles are formulated when we're little. So we'll start with anxious attachment styles. If your caregiver is living predominantly dysregulation and is anxious all of the time, then your nervous system is going to pick up on that. And basically what your nervous system is saying is, I need to make sure my caregiver is okay so that I am okay. And it forms that anxious attachment to where the child's nervous system is saying, I know that I'm not going to be okay unless you're okay. So I'm going to put my focus on things outside of myself in my external environment in order to make sure that everything outside of me, my caregiver, is okay so that I can be okay. And then also if you have a caregiver who is living predominantly in your sympathetic, which is your fight or flight state, which is your doing state. And because they're living predominantly in an anxious state, they might try to find safety through you, meaning they might be very hypervigilant about your safety, and not giving you opportunities to self-regulate, but being very hyper aware and hyper vigilant about don't do this, don't go here.
Is this like the helicopter mom?
Yeah.
Like a little bit overprotective maybe, or
Yeah.
What are some other examples?
Yeah. Well, like for example, if you're teaching your child how to walk and you're just very hyper vigilant, very like, don't go in that room, don't do this, don't go here.
Yeah.
And it's, of course, as caregivers, we want to keep our children safe, but it's when you feel anxiety in your system and you're hyper vigilant about that, then your child doesn't need to hear you say it. They can feel it before you have to say it. And so that also creates this feeling inside your child that of anxious, of like my caregiver isn't okay, so that means I'm not okay. So that creates those anxious attachment styles. What that looks like in adult relationships is that I'm not okay unless my partner's okay. And I'm going to be very hyper aware of everything that they say, of everything that they do. I'm going to be really worried if they don't text me back. I'm going to track their location. With somebody who has an anxious attachment, they might abandon their own needs or abandon their truth in order to maintain connection with their partner, because we survive through connection. That is a human need. And our bodies, our systems will go at great lengths to maintain connection with people. And again, the driving force behind your attachment style is the nervous system. In anxious attachment styles, you live predominantly in a sympathetic state, in a doing state. You feel a lot of arousal and activation and anxiety inside of your body. And that's how it shows up in relationship, is being very anxiously attached. If you get in a rupture, you have to repair it right that minute. It sometimes can lead to aggressive behavior. Like I said, our nervous systems will grow at great lengths to maintain connection, even in unhealthy ways. So that's how anxious attachments are developed over time. I do want to say that your caregiver only needs to be, research shows that your caregiver only needs to be regulated 30% of the time in order to create a secure attachment in your child.
Well, that's good news.
That is good news.
That's optimistic, because as a parent, if you were to be expected to be on your A game all the time, very well regulated, in order for your offspring, your children, to be, healthy, to have secure, healthy attachment styles, that would be a daunting, very scary task.
It would be daunting for sure. And so that's why I want to make sure and state that.
Yeah, that's great. That's great news.
And, as I'm speaking to this I'm not speaking from a place of judgment. This is just data. This is research. This is science. We offer grace to ourselves as parents, but also having an understanding of the nervous system and its critical role in the development of our children. It is vital. And I'm so grateful for the knowledge that I have of it now. And I'm grateful for the information that is out there about the nervous system. And this type of information I would have loved to have been aware of when I was a young mother. Yeah. Because science helps.
Yeah.
Research helps.
Yeah, for sure. So Darci, Mike, I have a question. So on that note, why didn't we know about the nervous system when we were young parents? Like, this seems like absolutely critical, vital, mandatory information to have as a human being. Basically, I view it as the owner's manual, the how to be a human instruction booklet.
It is.
And why didn't we have it? Where was it?
Well, I think just because research evolves over time.
Yeah. So it's a newer discipline. It's a newer phenomenon. It's a newer area of study.
Yeah, I would say so. Somatic experiencing, somatic healing. I mean, actually, okay, well, if you want to really get into it, when you look at indigenous cultures, they were healing through the nervous system without the language
Yeah.
to be able to say what they
That's
were
what
doing.
I mean. Like it's like it's new, but it's not new.
It's not.
You know?
And, when you think about indigenous cultures and how they heal, they build a fire, they dance, they sing,
Yeah.
they cry,
Yeah.
they are in community, they are being fully expressive, they are being witnessed,
They're being vulnerable.
they are being safe in a space where they can express
Mhm.
and move their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
These type of modalities that have existed for thousands of years have existed because they work. And I think that with the help of lots of different things, but just plant medicine and becoming more aware of these holistic practices that indigenous cultures have held onto for thousands of years is just coming more to our awareness of holistic healing.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I think it has existed for thousands of years. People just didn't know that the driving force behind that was the nervous system.
Mm.
But now that we have language and science to be able to kind of understand our anatomy better.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you saying?
Well, and I think, the propagation of information is so
Mm-hmm.
incredibly fast
Mm-hmm.
and widespread now with the internet,
Mm-hmm.
with social media, that these truths, this knowledge, this wisdom is able to be shared more readily,
Yes.
more easily.
Mm-hmm. So thankful for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
It is. It's been so fun to learn about and to apply
Yeah.
and to help my clients with. It really is.
And your family.
And my family, absolutely. They're the
Yeah.
most important for sure. So the next attachment style would be the avoidant attachment style. And this is formed if your caregiver was unavailable or if they were dangerous. And so it was showing your nervous system that connection wasn't safe. And because our nervous systems are so brilliantly designed that they will put you into a shutdown state in order to maintain survival, because that's its only job is to keep you alive. And so if your caregiver was not available to you to regulate you, if they were dangerous, it was showing your nervous system, your body, that connection was not safe. And so it puts you into a state of shutdown or your dorsal vagal complex. And so the child has to basically disconnect from their embodied experience in order to stay safe. And how this plays out in adult relationships is that in adult relationships, your nervous system, your body is saying connection is not safe, or I don't know how to connect safely with somebody else because you didn't feel that growing up. You may have cognitively known about it, but unless you feel it, it doesn't imprint in your nervous system. And so avoidance will avoid uncomfortable conversations. They will, if somebody tries to connect or get close to them, they might push them away. Or if their partner is showing a lot of emotion, their system doesn't know how to stay with that. And so they will avoid it or push them away if they are showing high states of emotional vulnerability because their nervous systems were not shown how to maintain connection during those high states of emotional activity or emotional expression. And so that's how avoidant attachments are formulated.
When you consider your romantic relationship, are you ready to turn your fear into love, your judgment into curiosity, what seems like drudgery and work into play, your attachment into authenticity, your codependence into sovereignty? Are you ready to laugh more, sing and dance more, have mind-blowing sex, the kind where you meet the divine when you make love? Are you ready to connect on a level that you could have never imagined, first to yourself and then to your partner? Are you ready to start living? Are you ready to love and be loved without conditions, without keeping score? Are you ready to be seen and to see your partner? If you answered yes to the above, sign up for our couples retreat, More Than Love, held in a luxurious 7,000 square foot cabin in Bryan Head, Utah, September 19th through the 21st. Having divine union with your partner is not only possible, you deserve it. But it takes work. It takes understanding how and why you've been stuck in unconscious loops and patterns that were created long ago to keep you safe and to protect you, and how all of that protective armor around your heart is now weighing you down. It's preventing you from breathing. It's keeping you playing small. It's preventing connection to your higher self and to your partner. It's time to take off the masks. It's time to put the armor down. It's time to discover your authentic self. It's time to create true safety. Safety for you to be you and for your partner to be them. At this 3-day retreat, you will learn the why behind the loops and patterns that create disconnection from yourself and your partner. How to bring to your conscious awareness why you are the way you are and why your partner is the way they are. How to discover your unconscious wounding and how to heal it. How to effectively handle rupture and repair. How to heal, comfort, hold, and love your inner child. How to integrate your shadow. How to get out of your head and into your body so that you can be present. How to feel safe in your body. How to get good at feeling your feelings and sensations and to understand that they are messengers for you, trying to give you important information. How to progress toward authentic living. How to handle the delicate dance of sovereignty and connection. How to heal your sexuality. How to regulate your nervous system. How to manage your triggers. How to step into your divine masculine and feminine. If you're ready to feel safe to be seen, if you want more than love, this retreat is for you. So click on the link in the show notes to apply. What about vulnerability? Are avoidant attachment styles more prone to kind of having their heart on lockdown?
Mm-hmm.
Like not feeling safe to be vulnerable, not opening up their heart because they are fearful that the connection is not safe. It's not safe.
Absolutely.
To be vulnerable.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. They have a hard time sharing their own emotional experience because as a child, it wasn't safe for them to be vulnerable. They didn't have a safe caregiver to be able to share their emotional, authentic experience with. Mm-hmm. And so it put them into a shutdown state in your nervous system that's called your dorsal vagal state. And the overwhelm that you experience as a child in your system from having a caregiver that was emotionally unavailable or dangerous, that overwhelm doesn't just go away. The dorsal vagal part of your nervous system just kind of covers it up, but it doesn't go away. And we'll talk about in healing, how we heal from that and how that sympathetic energy can be released from the body. But yeah, I mean, your attachment styles, again, I can't say enough that the driving force behind your attachment style is the nervous system. And so in talking about relational patterns and relational healing, it's so important for you to kind of combine 3 things: the nervous system, attachment styles, and parts, because those 3 things determine how you show up in relationship. And it all has to do with your relational patterns as a child is how you will feel safe in your relational patterns as an adult. So the next one would be a disorganized attachment style. And this was if your caregiver was a source of danger sometimes and a source of safety sometimes. And
you never knew what you were going to get.
You never knew what you were going to get.
Yeah.
It's kind of a combination of anxious and avoidant. Your nervous system doesn't know what to expect. There's a desire for connection, but you don't know how your caregiver is going to show up that day. So there's a lot of fear and there's a lot of terror in this unknown state for a little child to experience. It's kind of like a deer in headlights. You kind of get frozen inside your system in this state of not knowing what to expect. We also call it tonic immobility, where you have a lot of activation in your body, but you feel frozen. You don't know how to act. You don't know what to do. So it's a lot of energy, but you're put into shutdown. So it's kind of your sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight, a lot of activation, and your dorsal vagal, which puts you into shutdown. We call it a blended state, your freeze state. How in adult relationships, it looks like you have a deep desire for connection, but once somebody gets close to you, you push them away. And you kind of go through that cycle. And then when they go away, you want them back. You want that connection back. And then once they get close again, you try to push them away because of being so disorganized in your relational patterns growing up. It's very confusing. Reality becomes very confusing in your childhood, therefore very confusing in your adult relationships. And then secure attachment is, if you have a caregiver who was 30% of the time when you were in their care, they were regulated. This is your ventral vagal state, where you experience presence, connection, attunement. Your caregiver was able to be present with you when you were feeling emotions. You felt safe experiencing emotion around your caregiver. You could express your authentic needs to your caregiver without having to go into shutdown or freeze or disconnection. You maintained connection with a caregiver at least 30% of the time. And so how that shows up in adult relationship is that you feel safe regulating and being in connection with your partner, but you also are okay being alone. You know how to self-regulate, and you also have experience with co-regulating. And so you feel safe in being both of those states. And, secure attachment is where we all want to be. We all want to be living in a predominantly secure attachment state, especially with our romantic relationships. That's where we feel the safest. It's where we feel the most secure. It's where we feel the most authentic. It's where we feel the most ourselves. And the problem I see happening is that people have a cognitive understanding of their relational attachment style, but they don't know how to become unstuck out of those relational attachment styles because they don't know that the driving force behind that is your nervous system. And how to work with your nervous system, become unstuck out of those relational patterns to become into a state of secure attachment.
Can I pause you?
Yes.
I have a question. So can you just maybe elaborate on what it means when you say regulation or dysregulation?
Yeah.
What does that mean exactly?
Yeah. So regulation and safety mean the same thing. It means you feel safe being you. you feel safe in your body. People often confuse regulation with feeling calm and zen all the time. And of course, that's a beautiful place to be in. But regulation means that you can be present with your emotions, with your sensations, with your feelings, with your human experience, without leaving, without numbing, without distracting, without, going into a survival state. You know how to stay present with what you are feeling inside of your body without becoming dysregulated.
So you may be feeling difficult things. You could be feeling, it could be anger, it could be jealousy, it could be grief, but you are able to hold that experience.
Yes.
You are able to feel in your body that, yes, I am experiencing this difficult thing and I'm safe.
Yes, that is regulation. There's a term that we call the window of tolerance. It's basically like your capacity that you have with inside yourself to be able to hold your human experience, to hold emotion, to hold sensation. Everybody's window of tolerance is different. And we'll talk about this more when we start talking about trauma, but it is the capacity that you have with inside of yourself. And so when you have an experience that is too overwhelming for your system to hold, it will put you into a state of survival, a dysregulated state, fight or flight, or shut down or freeze. There's different states that our nervous system will put us into in order to help us stay alive for survival. So when I work with clients in helping them feel safe with inside of their bodies, what we're working with is the capacity with inside their nervous system. And we want to work to build that capacity within themselves so that they feel safer with what they are experiencing. We build their window of tolerance, and a lot of the work that I do with my clients, the foundation is building up safety with inside of their bodies, because your body will not heal unless it feels safe first.
Yeah.
And so we do a lot of practices and create experiences so that their bodies can come to a safe place so that it can create a new experience within itself, a new relationship with whatever experience that it was that caused them to go into a dysregulated state. The nervous system is incredible. Our bodies are incredible. Our bodies were created to put us into dysregulated states as an attempt to keep us alive. And it's uncomfortable, and we don't like those dysregulated states, but thank you, bodies, for trying to keep us alive. But our bodies will also created to heal holistically. This doesn't mean that we don't need outside support or sometimes outside pharmaceuticals. There's lots of ways to help our body, but they were created to heal. We do have that power within inside of ourselves. We are our own greatest medicine. And that is something that I have learned so profoundly in doing this work with myself and with my clients, is being able to offer that and show people how they are their own greatest medicine and how incredible our bodies are.
Yeah. If you take just a second and think about it, it makes sense. When you think about, obviously we could pick any kind of injury, but let's just keep it simple and pick, like, you get a little cut on your arm.
Mm-hmm.
The skin is, there's an injury.
Mm-hmm.
There's an opening created in your body
Mm-hmm.
into which bacteria, dirt, perhaps other pathogens can get in and, start wreaking havoc, start causing disease potentially. Of course, we have our immune system to fight that stuff off. But what happens within just a few hours of that cut having occurred?
It instantly starts to heal.
It starts to heal itself.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. It's something that we don't really, I think, often understand or make that correlation that if our physical body, a cut on the arm, there's this whole biochemical cascade of events that happens that starts calling in specialized cells to create a closure of that opening. Why can we not heal ourselves from our emotional wounds?
Yeah, we can.
Of course we can.
Our physiological wounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful design that God created to help us heal from our physiological wounds. And just like physical wounds, our physiological wounds could also heal. I think that we live in a culture where we have become accustomed to, if we don't feel okay, that means there must be something wrong with us.
Yeah.
If we're experiencing a difficult emotion, or if we are feeling these sensations inside of our bodies, that must mean there's something wrong with us. And so we shut down, we don't express it, we hide it, we numb it because it's uncomfortable. And this isn't to say that there are some real symptoms out there that you should absolutely seek medical and professional help for. Please don't take this message in the wrong way. If you are in severe emotional pain, or if you have suicidal thoughts, please seek medical help right away. I want to make that very clear. But yeah, we've become so inauthentic in our emotional expression, in our emotional needs, that it's become like this myth of normal, as Gabor Mate says, of thinking that there's something wrong with us, when really what's wrong is the environment is wrong. And your body is right in the way that it is manifesting the environment that you have lived in.
Yeah.
Your body is just showing symptoms according to the environment that you grew up in or the relationship that you're in. The body is so wise. The body never lies. And it's usually when we try to make cognitive sense of what is happening in our bodies, and we get stuck in that awful anxiety loop where I'm feeling something in my body. And so we go to our heads to try to make sense of it, and we create stories. We dwell upon things in the past, or we fear things that may or may not happen in the future, and we get stuck in those anxiety loops. We stop the natural healing process of our bodies. Whereas if we can just let our bodies feel, connect to the sensations that we're experiencing, and there's a process to it. We weren't taught the language of our bodies. It's a language that you need to learn. Yeah,
again, it's really incredible to me that we come here to this earth, we're given these, we get these bodies, and we're not given like an instruction manual.
I know. Gracie was just saying that earlier too.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I mean, thank goodness now we have you to help us understand, how to use these bodies, how to get the most out of them, how to honor and revere them, and listen to the messages, the wisdom, and benefit from the medicine within our own bodies.
Yes. So beautiful.
Yeah. So Darci, what type of practices or treatment or counsel would you offer to our listeners who are interested in knowing how they could heal their attachment style, if it is anything but a secure attachment style?
Yeah. Yeah, so I just want to offer that attachment and parts work, well, really all healing work, in order for it to be effective, it has to be done from a somatic lens, because the nervous system does not understand a verbal language. The nervous system only understands the felt experience. The nervous system's language is sensation. And so it has to be an experience that you embody, that you feel your way through healing.
So talking about it is only going to get you so far.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, people can have a cognitive understanding of why they are the way that they are and still very much feel stuck in that attachment style, feel stuck in that survival state, feel stuck in anxiety, feel stuck in depression and not know why, and know that they're depressed, know that they're anxious, know that they feel a certain way, know that they can't get out of bed in the morning, know that they have a fear of taking up space, know that they're a people pleaser. But until you create a new experience, an embodied experience, a felt sense of experience of safety with inside your body, patterns will not change. Patterns do not live in the head. Patterns live in the body. And until the body is involved, and we're not talking about just, somatic exercises with the body, though those are helpful. It's working with a practitioner or a coach or a therapist who has an understanding of the nervous system, who can track your sensations with you, can help create safety with inside your body, can help you process content while also relating to what is happening currently and presently inside your body. It's a very, very sacred experience. It's a very, very beautiful and safe space to be able to heal. So if you want to do work with your attachment style, what I recommend with my clients when we're working with relational attachment styles is if you living in predominantly in an anxious attachment, if you have an anxious attachment, your job is reshaping your nervous system by, yes, doing neural exercises, but also creating a lot of moments of self-regulation, of learning how to regulate on your own without another human having to be there. Learning how to create home within yourself so that when you feel safe with inside your body, you can then make relational choices from a place of choice. The nervous system needs 3 things to survive: choice, context, and connection. And when you are living predominantly in dysregulation, you don't have choice. Your only thoughts and actions throughout the day are just wanting to survive. There's no choice in that. So when I work with my clients in healing anxious attachment styles, we do a lot of work with self-regulating so that they know how to find safety within their body, not needing another human in order to do that work for them. Avoidance, they need safety and co-regulation. They need experiences where they feel safe being vulnerable, where they feel safe being around another human being who is showing high levels of emotion. So we do work in creating experiences where they can learn how to co-regulate with another human being safely because they were not offered that in their childhood experiences. If you have a disorganized attachment style, then you need work in both of them. You need work in learning how to co-regulate and to self-regulate. And then the other thing I would offer is that being able to just differentiate, and we'll talk about this more in the next episode when we get into parts work, but being able to differentiate between your adult self and the self of you, the part of you that is experiencing that attachment that was formulated when you were a child. So yeah, I would start by offering that. The nervous system is an incredible mechanism. and having an understanding. Everybody's nervous system is unique. Everybody's capacity within themselves is different. But it is the electrical system of your body. We are literal light beings.
Mm-hmm.
And what I love so much about the nervous system is it's, we're made up of energy. And that is very much true for the nervous system. It is sending electrical signals and messages all day long. And 80% of the communication is from body to mind, and 20% of the communication is from mind to body. So what that tells us is that our physiology creates our psychology, not the other way around. And that is another reason why it's so important to involve the body in your healing practices and in your journey of self-discovery and healing. Because really all healing is just self-discovery.
Yeah.
I don't believe people need to be fixed. I
So
think
true.
if you live with the belief that you are broken, your body hears every thought that you think. And if you believe that you are broken, your body is going to believe that you are not safe, and it will keep you in a state of dysregulation.
Yeah. It's incredible how powerful we are.
We are so powerful.
It's just we forget, don't we?
Yeah.
It's like you said, we're not broken. Even in the worst of scenarios, we are always whole.
Always.
We just forget.
We just forget. And really, the healing work I do with people is just helping them become unstuck out of survival states, helping them rewire their systems so that they're not living predominantly in a state of survival, but they're living in a state of being able to thrive. And I think people don't understand, unless you've been through it, what healing brings. Yes, it's hard and you're going to feel uncomfortable things. But what that offers is that you're literally burning away survival energy inside your body, creating space inside yourself for expansion, for love, for abundance, for creativity, for authenticity, all these beautiful things that healing brings. Healing is a return to self.
Yeah.
Healing is a return to your authentic essence, to your authentic nature.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's so true. I remember, coming to the realization that I was able to envision myself as like this large cup, and you can fill that cup with all these different things, all these different emotions: anger, jealousy, fear, grief. And there's only so much room in the cup, though. Once you fill the cup all the way up to the brim, there's no more room. And so it was helpful for me to kind of, what you just said, I remember understanding that, I needed to make space within me for other things, for peace, for freedom, for joy, for abundance, for love, for forgiveness. And so to do that, I had to make space in that cup, so to speak. I had to burn away all that survival energy. Maybe not all of it, but I had to make some space for other things to be able to live within me. It's so true.
Yeah.
Alchemy. The literal burning away of protective and survival energy, so that other energies can live there.
Yeah.
And can occupy that space.
Yeah.
And can help you maximize your full human potential and really experience your life.
Yes. Resonance is a birthright, is your birthright. Resonance, regulation, that is your birthright. We came into this world whole, and then we become wounded.
Mm-hmm.
We form unhealthy attachments. We experience trauma, which creates these things that aren't our true self. They're just protective parts.
Yeah.
Start running the show of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And without having an understanding of why you are the way that you are, and that you can become unstuck out of those states. You do not have to live predominantly in a state of survival.
Yeah.
Your bodies were created to heal.
But you have to feel it to heal it.
You have to feel it to heal it. Yeah. But you create safety within your body in order to be able to feel.
Yeah.
And that's why working with somebody who has an understanding of the nervous system, who has a trauma-informed lens, so that as you're processing content, you're not becoming re-traumatized. That's a real thing if you're working with somebody who's just asking you to talk about your traumatic experiences over and over again.
Yeah.
A lot of times working with my clients, we don't even need to go to content to story. We can just work off sensation and create a foundation of safety and resource their bodies to put their bodies into a state first so that they can then heal.
Yeah.
That's so important.
That was really mind-blowing for me in working with you, was to see and understand that, oh, we don't have to like rehash the story.
Mm-mm.
We don't have to keep talking about what happened.
Mm-hmm.
It was when you started guiding me in different ways, but guiding me to just feel.
Yeah.
And because I was so accustomed to suppressing and distracting. Those were my two main methods of avoiding feeling. It was just, when the pain was just too great, it was work more.
Yeah.
Occupy yourself with work and achievement and performance and doing. Or it was just pure suppressing, just pushing it down. I'm not going to feel that. And when I started doing the nervous system work and the somatics work with you and started to actually feel what I needed to feel, I started to see huge benefits and healing in myself. And so I thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Where can our listeners find you? Those who are interested in, I mean, there's so much, we can't go over all the different practices and ways that you help your clients so that the best way I like to say it, Darci, is I see you as having this beautiful gift of, in turn, helping others find and understand and know that they are their own medicine. So in your work of helping people know how to regulate their nervous system, know how to heal their inner child, know how to increase awareness around their wounding, their triggers to those wounds, how that's playing out in their lives, impacting their relationships and their lives in general. How can they reach you? How can they find you? You know, and also maybe speak to their couples retreats that we offer.
Yeah.
And what they could expect in participating in those.
Yeah. So, you can reach me through my website, www.holoshealing.info. We can put a link in the show notes.
Okay, good.
I call it holos. Holos means whole in Greek, meaning you are already whole.
Yeah.
And healing is just a return, a remembrance of that wholeness of which you are. My Instagram is holos_heal. You can connect with me there. I prefer you connect through my website. Send me an email and we'll communicate through there. A lot of people ask me, like, why don't you just why don't you just focus on like healing relationships, or just specifically trauma or inner child, or I work with somatic leadership in your business and in your coaching. And it's because the nervous system, because it creates your entire lived experience, you can come to me with anything that you are feeling stuck in your life. And just by working through your nervous system, through your sensations, we can create a new experience inside your body so that you feel safer showing up in the world as your authentic self. And that relates in so many different ways. That relates to more wealth. That relates to more success if you're an entrepreneur. That relates to your leadership. That relates to your relational patterns. That relates to your relationship with your kids, with your relationship with yourself, healing from religious trauma. I mean, we are wounded in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm. The list is long, isn't it?
The list is long, and I don't want to narrow my scope. To maybe in the future I will, I don't know, but right now I'm just really enjoying just come to me with where do you feel stuck?
Mm-hmm.
And your body will show you how to become, your body will give us all the information that we need of telling us why you are stuck and how to become unstuck out of that state. It's amazing, actually. So at the retreat, at our couples retreat, we'll be diving more in depth into attachment styles, how helping our couples who come to the couples retreat have a greater understanding of what their attachment style is and how that is specifically showing up in their relationship, and then what they can do together to help heal those attachment style wounds so that they live in a more secure, connecting, and loving state with each other. Well, these tools you and I have practiced together, that has had profound meaning in our connection and in our relationship. So we'll offer somatic practices and nervous system tools and actual embodied experiences so that true healing can happen at the level of your nervous system, which is where all healing happens. All healing happens at the level of the state of your nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll be doing couples retreats. I will be offering online programs that I'm creating for the future, specifically in one that I'm working on currently is helping parents learn tools and practices so that they can live predominantly that 30% in a regulated state in order to help their kids form secure attachments. I really can't think of anything more important as your work as a parent of how to, one, create safety with inside your own body so that your kids can feel safe with inside their own bodies.
Yeah. So important.
So important.
Because, the thing about trauma, and we'll get into that in more detail in the next episode. What is trauma? How it shows up? And healing. And we'll talk about all these things in future episodes. But trauma gets perpetuated, generationally, from one generation to another. It just keeps getting passed on and passed on, mostly unconsciously, until someone steps up. Someone usually suffers into consciousness and gets shocked into consciousness through suffering.
Yeah.
And realizes and begins to become aware of the work that needs to be done. Otherwise, it just keeps getting passed on and passed on. That's such beautiful and important work, I think, to do for parents.
Yeah.
So that they can understand how can they, from at any stage of parenthood, but preferably from the beginning, like even before their child is born, how can they ensure, like you said, that at least not that they're perfect, but at least 30% of the time that they are in a regulated state, providing an environment for their child to feel safe.
Yes. Your child's experience to be able to grow up feeling safe in their bodies because of the way that you as a parent attune to them. You allow for their authentic emotional expression without you shutting down or exploding or judging. Oh, I can't think of any greater gift that you could offer to your child that will save them years of possible depression, anxiety, not knowing who they are, further relational problems, you know, and I know that feels like a big burden for parents to carry, and I don't want it to feel that way. I want it to feel, oh my gosh, I get to provide that for my child. What a gift. And you can do it. It's not impossible. You can heal your own wounds so that you do not pass those wounds on to your own children. And some will be passed on inevitably. Yeah. We're going to make mistakes as a parent. Sure. It's okay. The magic happens in the repair work, which I'll discuss in my course of how to do proper rupture and repair work with your children. And I'm not perfect at it. My kids, if they were here, they would speak to that. But your effort and your ability to stay present with your child and to be human with your children. What a gift.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Darci, thank you so much for diving into this important and vital information about nervous system, about attachment styles, and how some of the things that happen to us as children stay with us and get played out, manifested into, and played out into our romantic relationships, and such important information.
It is. You make sense.
Everyone makes sense.
Why you are the way that you are. It's not an excuse.
No.
But it is an explanation.
Yes, it is. We love to often say that.
Yep.
So let's wrap up this episode, and we'll come right back in the next episode. Stay tuned, because Darci's going to talk in more detail about what's called parts work. And we're going to talk a little bit more about trauma, what that is, how that looks, and we're even going to get a little bit vulnerable, probably. I'm thinking. What are you thinking? You feeling some vulnerability?
I'm all for it.
And talking a little bit about some of these things in our own personal lives that we have dealt with individually and together as a partnership. So thank you for tuning in to this episode of Safe to Be Seen. So grateful for you. Darci, thank you so much. I love you.
I love you.
Free to be me, free to sing, sweet feathers envelop me like a hug, whispering melodies.
The Safe to Be Seen podcast is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. Darci and Brandon Burke do not claim to be experts. We have no intention to defend our beliefs or impose them onto others. This podcast provides a space to allow for us to share with others what it's like to be us. We desire to share our human journey with others. We advise you to seek professional counsel, therapy, and or treatment from trained, credentialed, and certified professionals for any emotional, mental, and or physical conditions you may be experiencing.